Hello, true believers. This is bebotsonly, and it's been a while since I've done one of these case paperworks, so you can kind of see in black and white what went on with my case or cases. And one of the things that occurred during this whole mess is the notice of withdrawal as defense counsel. Okay, so you can read right there in black and white. Notice of withdrawal as defense counsel. So what does this mean? So let's read this. Okay, so let's just jump right into it, and then I'll kind of fill in the rest here. This is a formal notice, a formal letter saying that my first lawyer, my first attorney, is quitting on my case. I repeat, he has put together this formal letter letting the court know notice of withdrawal as defense counsel. Please take note of withdrawal of appearance of the undersigned as defense counsel for the accused. It is thus prayed that all notices and orders from this honorable court be furnished sent to accused address as reflected in the records of the instant case. This notice of withdrawal of appearance is with conformity of the accused through his wife, also the accused, so he informed me through my wife, and also I will personally give this conformity to this withdrawal in the open court. Wherefore, premises considered, it is prayed that this notice of withdrawal appearance be noted. Okay, so this is my attorney. He's got a PTR number. He's got an IBP life member number. IBP, I think it stands for International Board of the Philippines Life Member. So he's pretty certified, as you could see, and then this is his law office. So this is one of my cases over here. So as you can see, it's 9208. So human trafficking, as amended by 10.3. I think it's as related to cybercrime is. But this is what you need to focus on, is the 9208. So it's pretty heavy stuff over here. Human trafficking is serious business. So let's back up here. This lawyer we got through a referral, and I really didn't have much of a choice when it comes to picking lawyers. I deferred it to the boss, since she was the one who was outside. And I had to defer all the decisions to her, because when you're in prison, there's nothing you can do. You're in complete lockdown. You have no communication with the outside world. I have no access to internet, to phones, it's just when the boss visits me is when I only have the communication. Everything else, I'm pretty much locked out. So this was, this person in this area, is like the number one lawyer here. He's pretty famous. He gets a lot of people acquitted, and so he's actually used by other people in prison. For example, there was this one person. He was the mayor before I was the mayor of the prison at that time, and he had the same lawyer, and he was caught with like 10 pounds of crack, meth, crystal meth, like 5 or 10 pounds of crystal meth, and he was able to get him acquitted. So this is how good this person was when it came to drugs, and he has a really good history when it comes to drug cases. He's an expert. So we assume that he had the same expertise when it comes to other cases, including mine. So he said that he's dealt with other worse cases than mine. So he said this was going to be no problem, and so we decided to sign him on because of his reputation of winning and all that, and seemed like good at the time. But this is the big but is, this is what when it comes to lawyers, it comes not just here in the Philippines, lawyers everywhere. Okay, imagine how bad lawyers are in America. Imagine how much worse they are here in the Philippines. And so let's get into why he withdrew. So after we paid him for multiple cases, I don't want to really get into the finances right now. So for like 3 years, our finances were in shambles because of the situation, and lawyer fees are expensive, and they charge per case and they charge per appearance. So it was a lot of money that was being spent on legal lawyer fees. So you're thinking, okay, well, you got the money for lawyers, no problem, right? So this lawyer is going to defend you, no problem, right? So then why is all of a sudden after you paid him, then is he withdrawing in the middle of a case? In one of the cases that we paid him for several cases. And it's kind of unclear why he let. What happened was, I don't really have all the details because I'm just the recipient of the of the negative effects over here. I wasn't part of the decision making, or what was he thinking, or what was he doing. Okay, but when it comes to lawyers over here, they're all pretty crooked. You all can't trust them. The problem, in his defense, he can't say, "Oh, you got the wrong lawyer," or you should have gotten the right lawyer. And in the boss's defense, in my defense, there is no such thing as a right lawyer or a wrong lawyer. It's all about managing the lawyer. They're all the same piece of crap, scum of the earth lawyers. It's a matter of how do you manage them? Can you manage them well enough? Because if you don't manage them, they'll manage you. And because I was in prison, I pretty much had no say or no leverage in the matter, and pretty much the boss has no experience, and she's in constant fear. So pretty much the lawyer, or this lawyer, was pretty much managing her and squeezing as much money out of her as possible by scaring the daylights out of her, saying things like, "Oh, he's guilty, so we're going to need money for this, we're going to need money for that." So a lot of that was going on. I'm going to need money to file this, or I'm going to need money to file that. So a lot of that was going on in the beginning. And that's a big reason why I stayed in prison for a long time. Normally, I wouldn't have. If I had the right lawyer, I wouldn't have stayed there that long, just maybe a few weeks, and I would have gotten out. But in this situation, the whole management of this lawyer was all wrong. One of the first things, one of the mistakes that we made was we pretty much paid him up front. So whatever he was asking for, what his acceptance fee was, pretty much paid. And what you should do if you ever run into this is don't pay the acceptance fee, all of it. I mean, they'll bitch and moan and say that, no, I need all the acceptance fee right now. But since they're greedy bastards, they'll pretty much take anything you give them. So the right thing to do was like, okay, I'll give you half now, and I'll give you the other half when it finishes, whatever the acceptance fee is. And like I said, they'll bitch and moan, but they'll take it because they're greedy bastards and they need the money instead of paying up front. And I've already told you, here in the Philippines, because of the culture, once you pay somebody up front, then there's no reason for them to show up to work or even do their work properly. And this kind of set off or triggered something in his mind that says, wow, I'm making all this money and I haven't done anything. I haven't even gotten him out of prison. So what we created, since we didn't know how to manage a lawyer, was that what we did was we trained him, or we taught him, or we showed him that he can make more money keeping me in prison longer than it is to get me out. I repeat, what we did, since we mismanaged him, I'll say we, even though I was in prison, but I mean, I had to sign off on most decisions, and because I didn't have all the right information, or don't have any experience. We're gonna make a lot of mistakes. Mistakes are made. So the problem was that he decided that he's in this business to make money, and he can make more money if he keeps me in prison as long as possible, because the boss is scared. She's trying to get me out, and she's willing to do anything and spend any kind of money to do this. So he was just following his instructions. Okay, we'll do this, we'll do that, but I'll need money for this. And that's what was happening, until we realized, we got to the point where it's like, well, you know what? Nothing's happening. He's still in prison. Yeah, but I'll need. So it was just milking us for more money, and I don't want to really get into my finances right now, but it was a mess. This lawyer figured out that keeping me in prison longer, so that's the number one reason why I spent a lot of time in prison, because this lawyer decided he would make more money, and then more money keeping me in prison, because we mismanaged him. Okay, we paid him up front. We paid him all his acceptance fee without anything in the back end or for performance incentive. So that's what happened here. And so if that's the case, then why did he withdraw? Well, I think what happened, this is my theory, because I know that the police, now remember, not all police are like this. I'm just saying all the police that I dealt with, since they're corrupt, I know that they were the police, after I think a month or two, the police went to visit my attorney, and he mentioned it to me. Oh, the police stopped by, and I was kind of thinking, what for? The Philippine National Police, this major, I don't know exactly his rank is, but he's a chief. He's a higher rank, and he said, I go, what did he come by his office for? It was one of the questions that I would ask. The boss would relay this to me, and it would worry the hell out of me. What are they coming together to meet for? Or he said he was just dropping off some documents, and I said, no, he's not dropping off documents. And I know when it comes to the police, they don't move. The only reason why they would move or go out of their way or put in all this extra effort is because of, number one, money, or number two, pussy. So obviously there's kind of some pussy involved over here, but not directly. But when it comes to money, that's what definitely they were after. And now we got a situation where the police are providing all this work to my attorney. As you could see, cases upon cases, counts upon counts were added on to my case, and my lawyer didn't do anything to attack it, didn't do anything to prevent it, didn't do anything to defend all these cases that were being filed against me. Even though it's not only double jeopardy, not only triple jeopardy, it's like counts upon in different courts. Didn't do anything to defend it or to stop it from happening. All this human trafficking cases against me, you just let it. I go, what is he doing? What is he doing? And because all these cases that are being filed, isn't it kind of double jeopardy, triple jeopardy? It's like, no, because one is based on the search raid. Your house was raided. One, human trafficking, was based on the evidence on the raid. And then the other one was based on the entrapment. So, and then the third one was based on both. So we really couldn't, I couldn't really fight that. They're all separate cases, even though they're the same offense, even though they're triple jeopardy, but they're coming out from different evidences. So he's saying that's why you have all these cases against you. So that's why, in his mind, he was like going, I hit the lottery, I hit the jackpot, and I'm just going to keep all these cases continuing. So it got to a point where the police came to him, and this is what my theory is. It's like, hey, we're giving you all this work. You're making all this money. We know this because I told them. The police actually came to me illegally. That's another story in itself, but I'll get into it. The police came to me first before they came to my lawyer, saying, hey, we put you in jail. So we're going to, hey, let's work something out here. so, for you to give us money. And obviously that didn't work out because the deal was me just give them money. And I go, what do I get in return? No, you're in jail. So you just give us money and you do what we say. And I said, that's a horrible deal. That's a crappy deal. So I told the police, I'm not going to give you anything because while I'm in jail, I can't do anything. So they went to the next best thing is they went to my lawyer because I told them, I'm paying him this much. So they went to the lawyer and said, and this is how I assumed the conversation went down, because they met and they said, hey, look, we're giving you all this work. We're giving you all this. And where's our money? So what was going on here is they were in collusion now. The police and my attorney are working together to pile on as many cases as possible, even though, as you could see from the resolution, that they had no basis for it. But that doesn't matter. But because when the police and the lawyer are working in conjunction and collusion, there's all of a sudden there's a conflict of interest over here. So that's why I'm assuming this is what occurred. And is that illegal? Absolutely, it's illegal. But they're going to say the police are doing their job, and my attorney is doing his job. Whether he's doing it right or not, so I'm sure they made some kind of arrangement or some kind of agreement during these meetings. Okay, we'll add on cases. It'll give you more work. You'll get more acceptance, money for accepting all that, for us giving you all that work, and we'll share the money. We'll split the money because obviously if I don't give money to my lawyer, then he's going to stop defending me, and that's not an option. Giving money to the police, on the other hand, now that's another story in itself that I'll get to later. They were blackmailing me. They were saying the police were blackmailing me while I was in prison, saying that they're watching the children, and they threatened my wife and my children. Imagine that, the police, and because they're blackmailing me, they've got guns, they're threatening me, I'm in prison. So I repeat, I have first-hand experience where the police blackmailed me. They were gonna hurt, threatened my children and my wife while I was in prison to extort money out of me. I repeat, they were extorting money out of me by blackmailing me, by threatening my children and my wife while I'm in prison. That was their deal. It's like, okay, you give us money and we won't hurt your wife and children. And of course, it was scary for me, but number one, I couldn't give them any money because I was in prison. And number two, I couldn't really relay that to the boss and tell her that, like, oh, by the way, the police threatened me. The Philippine National Police that we're dealing with here threatened me. They said they were going to hurt you if I didn't give them money. So that didn't work. So that's where they went to my lawyer directly, because they know that I'm paying him directly. So they were able to so they should be able to get money. And they work together because police and lawyers work together all the time here in the Philippines. That's pretty much common knowledge. Whether they work together to get you off is one thing, or work together to put you in there to make more money out of you. That's what was happening with me. I repeat, this lawyer working with police usually gets his in the case of the drug lord that got away with he was in a shootout, was caught with 20 pounds of crystal meth, but he was acquitted, okay, because this lawyer has his way of working with, I assume, working with the system, not saying anything specifically, to be able to get the testimony to the point where it shifted over to favor where the judgment shifted over to the defense side. So I could see that working out, but it could also work against you. In my situation, there's some things that went wrong. One of the things that went wrong, so not only did money go wrong, one of the things that went wrong is my complainants. He became interested in my complainants also. He wanted to talk to them directly, work something out with them, And that was another violation right there. I obviously, it didn't continue because the cases continued. Obviously, you could see in the resolution that the judge heard all the testimony, but that was one of the biggest violations of the law, was that he is not allowed to try to talk to my complainants, or he's not allowed to negotiate a deal with my complainants directly. Okay, I repeat, he could deal with him through another lawyer or through the public defender or the whoever the attorney is representing them, but he, as a law, as a violation, cannot deal with them directly to make a deal with them. But he did, and number one reason why is over here in the Philippines, men are interested in, of course, as lawyers, money and then pussy. Okay, so he became interested in the complainants themselves, and for good reason. I mean, this is where I kind of discovered, I pretty much, before this, I've been living in a bubble. What I've been doing, it's pretty much contained to our world, and I'm sharing with our true believers. But then I realized that I have this skill, this talent when it comes to finding or talking to or interacting with girls here in the Philippines, that both the police and my lawyer and not are very interested in them. They're like, there's no way I could ever access girls of this quality on my own, so I'm gonna throw Bebots only under the bus to get access to them. I'll say that, and using my money to get close to them. Just, I guess, Bebots only. That's what you do with the true believers' money, is to get close. Yeah, but that's for our benefit, not to throw me under the bus, keep me in prison for their benefit, because they want to be the sponsors now. They want to be the daddy. They want to be the papa now. So there were two violations there: colluding with the police and contacting the complainants directly with you. Because what happened was, then what was happening now is, he's no longer my lawyer anymore. Number one, he's a lawyer for himself to make money. Number two, he became a lawyer for the police. And number three, he became a lawyer for the complainants. Now you're thinking, well, then what went wrong? Why did they withdraw? Well, those are the parameters, or those are the laws he violated. And eventually it came out, because I was catching wind of this. I was just like, I was going through, the longer I was in prison, I was just saying, it's got to stop. We're not gonna give any more money, and this is it. We already paid the acceptance. We're paying per appearance, but we're not going to give any more money for any other motions or any other, because everything's being denied. Everything's not working. And that's where it went wrong, is because I already told you, this attorney has a gambling habit, and the money he would have shared with the police or with the complainants have already completely disappeared. So what they did was, what the police did was file the case against him, and with the International Board of the Philippines. I know this for a fact. I got reliable sources that told him, and I don't know if he's suspended or if it's permanent, but right now this attorney can't practice law. I repeat, this attorney can't practice law because of, I don't know what evidence the police reported or not, but I guess there was enough, the interaction with the police, the testimony of the police, the testimony of the complainants, that they filed a case against him, so he could no longer be my attorney at that point. And the main reason why they filed a case against him was because he gambled all the money that I gave him. I repeat, he didn't have any money to give them whatsoever. I mean, this is the reason why all of this was going on, is money. And the fact that he already took it to the cockfighting pit and lost it all. The money I gave him in a few minutes was gone. That's why I always say, if you give so I said, we're not going to give him any more money, and that was it. So that was the straw that broke the camel's back. He couldn't give him any, like I said, the money that I gave him for his acceptance was fine, was there, and other motions was there, but his motions were weak. I read them and he said, no, it's fine, we'll win. And then we didn't win. We lost every motion that he filed. And if you read them, they were based on nothing, because he never talked to me. So that was the problem with him. And so, as you can see, there's a huge learning curve here that you gotta deal with. You gotta experience firsthand when it comes to lawyers. So when we got our second lawyer, we were doing a better. I hope that we learned our lesson, and the fact that the first lawyer was reported to the international, so here we go, the IBP, International Board of Development. So it's either he's losing his license is suspended. I don't know if it's permanent or some kind of sanctions, but at the current moment he can't practice because of his greed and his interest in pussy. I swear to God, he even offered a job to the complainants. He says, hey, when you guys get, literally, this was said, if you guys ever, this was reported to me through a very reliable source, told the complainants, hey, once you guys get old enough, I could offer you a job in my office. So that's how much trouble I was. I had a lawyer I was stuck with that was fully paid, that became the lawyer of my complainants by saying that, like, I'll give you a job. Yeah, this is terrible. He took advantage of you, and that he's guilty. So I was in a lot of trouble. But it was a blessing in disguise that he withdrew, because, as you can see, I couldn't fire him because he was already paid for, and I would have to double my expenses. So we had to work with him no matter what. And this was a blessing in disguise that he fired himself. I wanted to fire him so bad. But I couldn't do it, or I didn't know where would I go after this. I've been working with this one for several months to almost years. Where would I go and find another one and start over again? And how do I know this one is worse or better or the same? So this, like I said, this was a blessing in disguise. So the police reported him saying that, he's colluding with the complainants and the police. Here's the evidence, instead of doing, which is he can't do. He can talk to another lawyer who's representing the police and the complainants, but he can't do it directly himself, or he became their lawyer instead of mine. So the International Board of the Philippines didn't like that, so they suspended his license. So he threw me under the bus to try to get pussy and money, and now karma is a bitch, and now he's doesn't have a job anymore, doesn't have a livelihood anymore. I don't really know what he's doing right now, and I don't really care. I like I said, I've got my own problems to be dealing with. I've got a lot of unfinished business. So I just want to let you know, so I'm doing this slowly. I don't know if anybody's interested, especially with COVID going on, if people have moved on. But anyway, this is to give everybody an idea of what actually happened. So you don't have to guess, you don't have to speculate. But if you're some asshole out there who has an agenda, then go ahead. But for the rest of normal, regular people, not, there's a few out there, maybe a minority, but this is the online world where mostly it's trolls. But there's a handful out there that want to do the truth, and here it is in black and white what happened. The experience that I have with lawyers over here, I want to share with you. So maybe the mistakes that I made, you wouldn't have to, or try to manage the lawyers better. But like I said, I probably would have done a better job at managing, but I couldn't. And the boss was scared, and she was trying to get me out as desperate as possible. But that was just a recipe for disaster. And these are the things that happened. So this is a blessing in disguise. We had to hire another lawyer. This one we're managing properly now, or decently. I mean, I'm out, ain't I? So that's a good thing. But I wouldn't say one way or another that this was the right lawyer or not. We're just managing him better than we did with this one. I'm sure like I said, all lawyers are the same. They're all greedy bastards. They're all after pussy. But at least this one, we're managing with the money, and he saw what happened. And he also saw what happened to this first lawyer. So he wanted to make sure, he dots his I's and crosses his T's and make sure he stays within the letter of the law, so he doesn't end up like this, also having to notice of withdrawal as defense counsel. So that is like the first time there's a lot of firsts that happened in my case, and this is one of them. This is one of them where an attorney turned down money because he was reported by the police for colluding and what's the word? What did they use? Tampering. Their witness tampering. That's what he was, because he was talking directly to them. But anyway, it didn't work out. They filed a case against him. So okay, we'll let you deal with us, but of course we're gonna need some benefits. He didn't give him the benefits because he's like all lawyers, you give them money and they'll pocket it and they'll spend it on their gambling, whatever vices they have, which they all have. So that's the update. So that's in black and white. So you don't have to speculate. You don't have to guess. You don't know what happened. All right. Yes, some deal was tried to work out, but no, it didn't happen because whatever money it is that I gave him, he kept it all to himself, and the case continued. The police didn't get their money from the attorney, and the complainants didn't get their money from my attorney because, like I said, you give any money to any attorney and they will pocket it themselves. Even one of the people in the comment, Dave's niece said she never got a penny of it because the lawyer kept all the money. So that's the rule over here. You give any money, the lawyer any money. So even if, let's say the argument is if I did pay them off, they never saw it. Here is what your correct answer is. And now, since they didn't get their money, they said, okay, well then we're gonna file a case against you. And then that's where he is regretting now. So because he started, just like most men, he started not, sorry, I'm gonna try to do this in one take. He started thinking with the little head also, and got too greedy and couldn't do his job properly, and he thought he probably suffered from some hubris where, I've done this before, I've used my lawyer position to get both, and look how it worked out. And he was really interested in my quality, and I'll get into the quality that I have actual documentation in terms of quality that I'm dealing with, that he and the police became very interested in, which led to their demise. Not only my demise, but their demise also, and the police's demise. I already told you that this case has everything in it. It has money, it has sex, it has corruption, it has threats, and it even has death. I repeat, it even includes death. It wouldn't be complete if it didn't have some death involved. So somebody died during this case. Obviously, it's not me, but it doesn't mean that I couldn't die in the future and talking to you from the grave if you're watching this and I'm already dead. But the point is, somebody already died that's involved in this case. Whether I had anything to do with it, like I said in my previous, that's a question that I'm going to have to answer in one of my live streams in the future. I will answer it ad nauseum, but right now, like I said, I'm just giving everybody a chance to digest, and also some of the people to come back slowly because of this pandemic. I don't know, because people moved on. Last live stream, there was like only 6 people because I think because it was the timing, the holiday, the short notice, and everybody had something else better to do. But if as time goes on, I'm going to continue this, and I'm going to keep everybody informed. Anyway, if you have any questions or comments to wrap it up, this is the result of why the first time ever a lawyer had to drop a case or had to quit or had to fire himself because he broke the law. And why? Because of his he broke why and lost his license, and he had to quit. So, and why, and I already explained to you why, those 2 reasons. And and probably or maybe I had something indirectly to do with it, because I didn't, part of it, I mean, there's many reasons, part of it, I didn't manage him properly. Number two, he became very interested in the quality of the girls that I was dealing with. And number three, it was money, greed, gambling, vices. That's just the reality of here in the Philippines. And like I said, it's not right or wrong. There's really no right or wrong over here. It's just the consequences of our actions. Anyway, I need to get back to, we have online classes and math is coming up, I think in a few minutes. So this online classes, I tell you, it's a pain in the rear. It's like I'm going to school again all over again. I mean, which is fine, but it's definitely a burden more on my schedule versus if the kids were in school the whole day. So, and another thing that I've been struggling with here is, I want to say here at the end here, is that I'm trying to keep myself motivated in terms of vlogging, especially now. I mean, why do I continue even though I already know that repeatedly, the channels are going to be deleted? But I continued anyway because there was a lot of support. There was a lot of people that wanted me and supporting me and my family and our friends to continue the work. But right now, because I understand why, the support is the support that I used to have before is not here. Number one, because nobody knows what happened, and there's people that moved on, and there's this pandemic, and there's lots of dynamics that went on. And I'd like to think eventually the support will come back, and that's why I keep plugging along and pushing along. But I get my moments where I'm struggling with, why do I want to do it? There's really not many people watching, and there's really not much support. So maybe once I overcome there's a certain threshold or a certain barrier, and so I can get the support again. But it'll take time. I lost a lot of trust, and I would like to think that a lot of the trust and support can come back just as long as I keep working and I keep informing and I keep communicating and I keep rebuilding the relationship I had with our community, with our true believers. Anyway, that's the update. If you have any questions, comments, just to let you know some of the major events that happened. I had my first lawyer quit on me and why, and he's losing his license, and I talked about. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, but if they're too detailed, I'll try to address them in the next live stream. When the next live stream is, I would like to do it at least once a week, but if I don't, then we'll just have to wait for the next one. Anyway, this is bebotsonly, giving everybody an update in black and white, what actually happened, so you don't have to speculate and assume and make an ass out of yourself. Anyway, this is bebotsonly. Thanks for watching.